your Father had a hidden deal made on your name. God says this message reaches you in a moment when your spirit is trembling between what you know and what you have not yet discovered. God says this is an urgent message for you and you alone. And Archangel Michael is standing beside you as these words move toward your soul. He says, do not skip this, because skipping this message is like skipping the truth that has been waiting years to finally come forward. God says, your Father, the man you loved, the man who left you with memories that sometimes make your heart heavy and sometimes give you strength, had a hidden deal made in your name. And God says, this revelation is not coming to hurt you, but to prepare you, uplift you, and realign your life with the destiny He tried to secure for you long before you ever realized the spiritual weight of your own existence. God says your Father loved you far beyond what you understood. Even if life sometimes hid His love behind silence, behind responsibilities, behind the burdens He carried alone, because He believed you deserved better than the truth He was fighting. God says your Father made a decision, a spiritual contract, a hidden arrangement, a deal sealed with His prayers, and it was always meant to reach you at the exact moment when you would be ready to step into a larger life. Not a life of fear or confusion, but a life where everything begins to align in divine order. Archangel Michael says he has been trying to deliver this for so long, but every time this message approached your spirit, something blocked it. Doubt, worry, hurt, disappointment, unexpected distractions, or the feeling that maybe you didn't deserve divine attention. But God says you deserve all of it and more. God says this message is the key to something you have been sensing in your life lately. A shift, a pressure, a sudden wave of emotions, dreams that feel too real, people from the past showing up strangely, sudden thoughts that feel like memories, but you don't remember ever living them. God says, your Father has been trying to send you signs, but you always brushed them off because your logical mind couldn't understand them. But your spirit felt them. God says, every time your heart suddenly tightened and you didn't know why, it was the spiritual voice of your Father trying to draw your attention back to something important. God says your Father's hidden deal was not with people, not with money, not with earthly systems, it was with heaven. A pact He made in prayer. A promise He sealed with tears nobody else witnessed. A request He sent to God with the purest form of love, the kind that only a parent can understand. He asked God to protect you from something He couldn't protect Himself from. He asked God to give you blessings that He couldn't give during His life. And He asked that when the time comes, all that He prayed for would fall on your life like rain. Suddenly, unexpectedly, powerfully, beautifully, in a way that breaks every limitation around you. Archangel Michael says your Father knew something He never told you, something about your future, something about a calling on your name, something about a destiny that would grow far beyond the place you were born. But He also knew you would face obstacles, envy, betrayal, misunderstanding, and hidden opposition. He feared that people close to you would try to confuse your spirit or make you doubt your worth. So He made this hidden deal with God, a spiritual covering. So no matter who tried to stand against your destiny, God would always realign you and protect you. God says this is why sometimes your life felt delayed. Sometimes you felt blocked. Sometimes things didn't happen for you when you expected. Sometimes people were removed from your life suddenly. Sometimes blessings took longer to reach you. God says it was not rejection. It was divine timing. Because the deal your father made required your spirit to reach a certain level of strength before you could step into the blessing meant for you. If it arrived too early, you might have wasted it. If it arrived too late, it might have been stolen from you. God says, now is the moment. Now is the hour. Now is the season where the hidden arrangement your father made begins to unfold. God says you were supposed to receive something long ago. Inheritance of purpose, spiritual protection, unexpected favor, divine opportunities, and a blessing your father sealed with his last breaths of prayer. But God had to wait until you were emotionally ready, spiritually aware, and brave enough to receive it. God says this is why hurt didn't break you. Why disappointment didn't destroy you, why abandonment didn't end you, why every struggle you faced only made you stronger. God's hand was strengthening your heart for the moment you're entering now. Archangel Michael says you must not skip this because this message is the bridge between where you are and where you were destined to reach. He says your Father sees you. He watches you in moments when you feel alone, when you cry quietly, when you pretend to be strong for others. When you question if you are loved, when you wonder why God hasn't answered certain prayers yet. Archangel Michael says, your Father stands beside God every time your name is mentioned, and your name is mentioned often in heaven. Your Father pleads for your protection. Your Father prays for your success. Your Father asks God to open paths for you that nobody can close. And God has been preparing those paths one by one. God says you have survived things that should have broken you because your Father's spiritual agreement covered you. There were moments when you could have lost everything, but you didn't. There were moments when people tried to block your blessings. But they failed. There were situations that were supposed to crush you, but you rose again. God says nothing was accidental. Every delay was protection. Every heartbreak was redirection. Every unexpected ending was preparation for the new beginning your Father hoped you would one day reach. God says your Father wanted you to know the truth, but He didn't want you to fear the process. He wanted you to grow into the version of yourself who could carry the blessing He prayed over your life. He wanted you to become strong, wise, spiritually aware, and emotionally grounded. God says this is why your heart has been feeling something approaching, something big, something life-changing. Something that feels like destiny calling your name. Your Father's deal with God is now activating in your life. God says you were supposed to walk into a season of unexpected breakthroughs, financial surprises, emotional healing, restored connections, new opportunities, and divine favor that shifts every area of your life. And you will. God says nothing will go wrong with you. You are safe. You are protected. You are watched over. Even when your life felt uncertain, clear's throat, heaven was not uncertain. Archangel Michael says he has been guarding something in your life that you haven't noticed. A doorway, an opportunity, a blessing that is being shaped right now. He says, very soon you will receive clarity about something that has been confusing you for years. Something connected to your family. Something connected to your father's choices. Something connected to the reason you were always different, always sensitive, always spiritually aware. Even when you didn't understand why, God says your Father knew there would come a moment in your life where you would feel lost. A moment where you would question your purpose, a moment where you would feel like nothing is moving, nothing is changing, nothing is improving. But he asked God to make sure that in that exact moment the divine truth would reach you. The truth that you were chosen, protected, and destined for more than what you see now. God says your Father's hidden deal included a promise. If my child ever reaches a moment where they feel alone, unsure, afraid, or broken, send them a message so powerful that it restores their strength, their faith, their hope, and their sense of purpose. And God says He is honoring that request today. Archangel Michael says, your Father is proud of you, proud of your resilience, proud of your heart, proud of your kindness, proud of the way you continue even when life feels heavy. Proud of the way you carry love even after losing some of the people you loved. Proud of the person you have become even when nobody saw how much pain you had to overcome to become this strong. God says the hidden deal your Father made was not just for protection. It was for elevation. He wanted you to rise higher than Him, to live better than Him, to experience the blessings He couldn't, to receive opportunities He never reached, to break generational patterns, to step into a new lineage of abundance, healing, and purpose. God says the next chapter of your life is blessed. The next doors opening for you are divine. The next opportunities coming toward you are heaven-sent. The next people entering your life will carry purpose, not pain. The next experiences you walk into will bring joy, not confusion. God says you are safe. He says rest assured. He says everything is aligning. He says you are divinely protected. He says your Father's prayers still speak over your life. He says Archangel Michael is guarding your path. He says trust Him. He says breathe. He says you are not alone and you never were. God says this is your moment. Don't doubt it. Don't fear it. And don't skip this message because it is the answer to the prayers you've whispered when nobody was listening. God is with you. You are protected and your Father's hidden deal is now becoming your blessing. God says this is an urgent message only for you and you must not skip this because the timing of this revelation has been aligned with your spirit in a very precise way. God says Archangel Michael has been trying to reach you repeatedly and today he says with unwavering seriousness, do not skip this. I order you. Your Father had a hidden deal made on your name and you were supposed to know the truth much earlier, but the divine timing has chosen today. God says you are safe, protected and guarded and absolutely nothing will go wrong with you as long as you trust Him, pray to Him and allow His presence to flow into your life. God says this message is meant to heal you, strengthen you, and break open a truth that has been waiting behind an invisible door for a long time. Archangel Michael steps forward with a serious, compassionate look, telling you that something your Father once carried inside His heart was not expressed in earthly words. It was something He planned for you for a future He hoped you would step into. Something connected not to money alone, not to property alone, not even to an object alone, but to a responsibility, a blessing, and a destiny He wanted you to inherit. God says your Father's heart was bigger than the world understood. And some of the decisions He made were covered by silence because He believed the right moment would come. And that moment is now. God says that the hidden deal your Father made was not something dark or dangerous, but something meant to lift you, protect you, and guide you in the future. And the heavens are finally unveiling it. God says you have felt many times as if things were kept from you. Truths, decisions, intentions, secrets, promises. You felt this in your spirit long before you ever said it in words. God says, today you will understand why you always sensed an invisible weight. Why you sometimes felt like someone was holding something behind their back, something meant for you but not yet delivered. Archangel Michael says that he has been assigned to bring this revelation forward because your heart is now ready to receive the truth with strength, not fear, with clarity, not confusion, with faith, not doubt. Your Father, God says, had a deep understanding of cycles, protection, and timing. He may not have shown everything he felt, but the spiritual realm saw every intention he carried. In a moment of prayer long ago, he asked God to protect you from a situation he foresaw. And part of that protection became the hidden arrangement he made on your name. God says this was not just about the physical world but about aligning your soul with something your Father wanted you to have in your future. Archangel Michael says that what your Father did was out of love, out of responsibility, and out of a desire to secure a safe path for you. Even if he could not express it openly at the time, God says, you have walked through many storms without understanding why certain doors closed, why certain people acted the way they did, and why certain blessings were delayed. But the truth is that the hidden deal your Father made created a timeline of protection around you. One that prevented certain harms. One that guided you away from disasters you never even knew were coming. God says the divine realm honored the intentions of your Father's soul. And those intentions have been surrounding you like a shield even when you thought you were alone. Archangel Michael says, the reason this message is urgent is, because you are stepping into a phase of your life where what was concealed must be revealed, where what was delayed must be delivered, and where what was hidden must come into the light. God says this is not just about a thing your Father left behind. This is about the spiritual transfer of strength, clarity, divine protection, and the courage your Father always wanted you to have. He wanted you to grow with a confidence that comes not from people but from God's presence around you. God says He has seen every moment where you felt abandoned. Every moment where you felt like the world was unfair. Every moment where you wondered whether anyone truly saw your worth. He says your Father's soul was watching too, even from beyond the earthly realm, sending love, sending guidance, sending subtle signs that you sometimes felt but doubted. God says your Father tried to hold on to something important for you, something He wished He could have told you personally, and that is why Archangel Michael is delivering this now with divine urgency. God says this message is a part of your healing, your direction, and your future. Archangel Michael says, you have walked with fear in your heart. Fear of loss, fear of betrayal, fear of unexpected pain. But God has seen every tear you held inside your heart today. He says that you are safe. You are protected. Nothing will go wrong with you. Nothing will be taken from you unfairly. Nothing will be allowed to harm your path. God says He understands your worries even before they form into thoughts, and He is not angry at you for feeling frightened. He is surrounding you with comfort right now. Archangel Michael says your Father's hidden deal was a symbol of trust in your destiny. He trusted that you were strong. He trusted that you were chosen. He trusted that your future would hold more meaning than your past pain. He may not have spoken everything out loud, but his silence carried depth, intention, and love. God says that what your Father left for you spiritually is even greater than anything He could have left physically. It is the strength to survive, the wisdom to discern, the courage to move forward, and the divine favor that follows you even when you don't realize it. God says there are people who misjudged your path, underestimated your spiritual calling, and failed to see the supernatural protection wrapped around your life. They thought you were walking alone, but the heavens were always guarding you. Your Father's intentions were part of that divine shield. God says, this message is meant to turn your heart toward peace and release your spirit from any burden of doubt you carried about your worth, your destiny, or the love that was meant for you. Archangel Michael says, the hidden deal your Father made symbolizes a promise that has not yet been fulfilled, but is now coming into alignment. Something you were supposed to receive emotionally, spiritually, or even materially will find its way to you. God says no human interference can stop it now because the time has been chosen by heaven. God wants you to trust Him not because everything is easy but because He has already walked ahead of you and ensured your safety. God says you have a great purpose and part of that purpose is tied to a truth your Father knew but could not reveal at the time. It is tied to a path you are meant to walk with divine guidance. God says you must allow yourself to trust again, to breathe again, to believe again. The divine realm is lifting the weight from your spirit. Archangel Michael says, your Father wishes you knew how proud He is of your resilience, how amazed He is by your strength, and how deeply He wished to protect you from pain. God says this message is coming to you now because you are entering a season of clarity. Doors will open. Shadows will disappear. The truth will rise. You will feel guided, supported, protected, and aligned in a way you haven't felt for years. God says you are safe. Nothing will go wrong and His presence is covering you completely. Trust Him and pray to Him and you will see the blessings that were always meant for you finally unfold. God says this is an urgent message only for you and nothing in this moment is accidental. You were guided here. Your spirit was aligned here and your heart was pulled into this exact second because something hidden for years is finally coming into the light. God says, listen carefully, chosen one. Archangel Michael is standing beside you at this very moment and he is asking, begging, telling you not to skip even a single word, because what you are about to read was hidden from you for too long and the truth now wants to breathe. God says that Archangel Michael has stepped forward in a very rare way. He does this only when the truth is so important that heavenly timing refuses to wait. His voice carries urgency not to frighten you but to protect you. And right now He is saying don't skip this. I order you. You must know what was done in your name. It is not an order of dominance, but an order of love. A divine command meant to shield your soul from confusion, betrayal, and the weight of unanswered questions that have been sitting in your energy for too long. God says, your Father, the man whose presence shaped parts of your life, even when He was silent, even when distance or time separated you, had a hidden deal, a secret decision made on your name. Something that involved your destiny, your future, your inheritance of blessings, and a responsibility that was supposed to reach you long ago. But someone delayed it, blocked it, or tried to bury it so deep that you would never find it. God says, "My child, today the delay expires." Your Father, whether He is in heaven or somewhere unreachable now, carried a truth that was not spoken aloud. He carried a burden that was not meant to be yours. He carried knowledge about you that He didn't fully reveal either out of protection, fear, or circumstance. You were supposed to receive something, step into something, claim something, a role, a blessing, a responsibility, a fortune, or a divine calling that your soul was aligned with before birth. But someone interfered. Someone who thought you would never rise high enough to uncover what was rightfully yours. God says that the hidden deal was never meant to stay hidden forever. Time may have tried to cover it. People may have tried to distort it. And life may have tried to erase it from your awareness. But heaven never forgot. Heaven wrote it into your destiny, recorded it into your divine contract, and sealed it into your spirit so that, when the right moment came, your soul would wake up to the truth. And that moment is now. Archangel Michael says he has been trying to reach you again and again through dreams, sudden thoughts, unexplained emotions, feelings that come and go like waves. He says he has whispered to your heart, tried to guide you, tried to warn you, tried to nudge you, but you keep skipping the signs. Not because you don't care, but because life has overwhelmed you, distracted you, or numbed your intuition. Heaven understands, but heaven also knows that this message cannot be delayed anymore. God says you are safe. God says nothing will go wrong with you. God says no force in the physical world or the spiritual world can harm you when you walk under divine protection. But He also says that knowing the truth is necessary because wisdom strengthens your soul. Clarity restores your path and revelation brings power back to your hands. There was something your Father signed, agreed to, promised, or arranged on your behalf. It could be spiritual, emotional, financial, or tied to your destiny. And for years, something or someone has been blocking the flow of that blessing into your life. It may have been jealousy, misunderstanding, greed, manipulation, or simply the wrong people having access to your life. There was confusion around your name. There was a shift in your destiny. There were plans that others made about your life without including you. And yet, God saw everything. God says nothing hidden stays hidden forever. Especially when it concerns a chosen one, you were never ordinary. Even the struggles you faced were not random. They were signs that something in your energy was being fought over. Your potential, your blessings, your connection with God. Someone knew your worth before you discovered it yourself. Someone recognized your light before you understood it. And sometimes people try to bury the light they can't control. But God says your season of delay is ending. The truth is rising like morning light and you will not be confused anymore. Archangel Michael says he has taken a sword of spiritual clarity and cut off every string, every lie, every manipulation tied to that hidden deal. He is now guiding you toward reclaiming what was meant for you. He says your Father wanted you to step into something powerful, something meaningful. Maybe your Father couldn't tell you. Maybe life didn't give you the chance. Maybe distance closed the door before truth could enter. But heaven kept the door unlocked, waiting for the day you would walk through it with divine strength. God says, your heart has carried questions that nobody answered. Why did this happen? What was I supposed to receive? What was I kept away from? What was meant for me but never reached me? Heaven is answering now. You were supposed to be blessed, protected, elevated, and guided by something that your Father either agreed to or prayed for on your behalf. His intentions were connected to your destiny, but someone interfered. Someone who thought they were smarter, more powerful, or entitled to decide your path. But no one is more powerful than God. And no one can outrun divine justice. God says He allowed certain delays because He needed you to grow into the version of yourself who can handle the truth. If the truth had reached you earlier, you may not have recognized it, trusted it, or understood its value. But now you are ready. Now your soul has matured. Now your intuition is awakening. Now your life is stepping into divine timing. Your Father's hidden deal involved your protection. Heaven confirms this very clearly. He wanted you safe. He wanted you blessed. He wanted you secure in ways life did not always allow. Whether He expressed it openly or silently, whether He lived or left too soon, His Spirit still holds love for you. There were things He wished He could change. There were things He wished He could say. There were truths He wished He could reveal. And heaven is revealing them to you now because your spirit is strong enough to carry them. God says you were supposed to be elevated. You were supposed to be honored. You were supposed to carry something your Father wanted you to receive. And even though human hands tried to rewrite the story, God's handwriting is permanent. Archangel Michael says the spiritual interference around your life is breaking. He says you must not skip this time. You must allow the truth to enter. What you discover next will change the direction of your journey. God says that every tear you cried was counted. Every disappointment you faced was witnessed. Every moment you felt lost was quietly guided back into alignment. You never walked alone. And you are not alone now. Heaven is surrounding you with protection so strong that even the unseen forces step back. You are safe under God's hand. Nothing will go wrong with you. No harm will touch you. No darkness can reach you. You are divinely shielded. God says the blessing your Father intended for you will reach you. Nobody can block it anymore. Nobody can delay it. Nobody can claim it. Heaven has released it. Heaven has stamped it with your name. Heaven has made it yours. Everything that was hidden is coming to light. Everything that was delayed is accelerating. Everything that was stolen is returning. Everything that was confusing is becoming clear. You are stepping into a timeline where the truth empowers you, guides you, and restores everything that your soul was promised. God says, trust me. Pray to me. Walk with me. I am with you and everything connected to you is safe in my hands. Archangel Michael says, do not skip this. You were meant to know. You were meant to rise. And now you will. And God says, my child, your story is just beginning. God says, this message is being placed before you in a moment where your heart is trembling between what you know and what you have sensed for years. Archangel Michael stands beside you right now and he is speaking with a firmness that comes from love, not fear. He says, do not skip this. I order you, you have ignored too many whispers, too many signs, too many moments of divine protection without realizing the full story behind why you have been saved. Redirected, lifted, and guarded again and again. This time you must not look away. This message carries the truth your spirit has been asking for and the truth your Father wanted you to know long before He left the world you walk in. God says your Father had a hidden deal made on your name. And this was not a deal made in darkness or deceit, but something He sealed in silence, carrying it in His soul with the hope that one day you would be strong enough to understand your worth. He didn't speak of it because He knew your heart was soft, pure, trusting, and easily wounded by those who didn't deserve your trust. He knew that if He revealed this too soon, it could invite the wrong people. The wrong energies, the wrong intentions. So He covered you with silence, not abandonment. He protected you with mystery, not distance. He hid this because you were supposed to step into it when your spirit reached the level where you no longer begged for validation from people who never saw your divine value. Archangel Michael says, your Father saw things you did not see. He recognized the spiritual weight you were born with, the destiny you carried, the divine contracts written long before your first breath. He sensed the jealousy, the hidden envy, the quiet competition, the unspoken desires of people around you. He knew that if He entrusted certain truths to the wrong ears, those truths would be twisted, stolen, or corrupted. So He placed a shield over your name, a spiritual lock, a hidden agreement between heaven and your destiny, ensuring that only when the appointed time arrived would the seal be opened. God says that time is now. You were supposed to receive something long ago, something that carried your Father's wishes, something connected to your future, something that would have changed the direction of your life earlier. But God withheld it not as a punishment, but as a preservation. Heaven waited for you to rise into a version of yourself that could carry the responsibility, the blessing, and the truth without breaking. And God says, my child, you have risen. The heartbreaks you endured, the nights you cried without anyone knowing, the betrayals that left you feeling empty, the loneliness that swallowed you when those you trusted disappeared. None of that was wasted. Every moment was shaping you. Every loss was removing someone who could have destroyed your destiny. Every delay was divine protection. Every silence from heaven was a test that you passed. Even when you thought you were failing, you kept going. You kept believing. You kept praying even when the answers didn't come. You kept trusting even when you felt abandoned. You kept walking when others left you behind. Archangel Michael says, this is why the seal can open now. This is why the truth can reach you. This is why you must not skip my words today. God says, your Father's soul has been at peace, but His love for you has never rested. He has been watching you grow into the strength He always knew you had. He has been guiding you quietly, sending you signs in the moments you didn't understand why certain things happened exactly the way they did. He has been sending protection, sending clarity, sending inner warnings, sending comfort. And now He sends this message. God says, the hidden deal your Father made on your name was a spiritual agreement for your future. An agreement that you would rise higher than anyone expected, that you would break patterns that hurt generations before you. That you would receive blessings that were delayed for decades. He made this agreement because he saw something powerful in you even as a child. A light, a calling, a sensitivity, a deep inner knowing that made you different from everyone around you. He knew you were chosen long before you knew it yourself. He knew that no matter how much people underestimated you, your destiny would pull you forward. He knew that no matter how many people tried to block you, heaven would remove them. He knew that no matter how lonely your path became, you would never walk it alone. God says every tear you cried was counted. Every moment you felt forgotten was witnessed. Every prayer you whispered was heard by me. Nothing you endured was by accident. Nothing you lost was meant to stay. Nothing that broke you was strong enough to destroy you. What was hidden from you is now returned.